Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, there.
Huh. That was weird.
Man, this whole day's been weird for me. Man. What's going on? Lap 12 of 27, I see.
Yeah, kind of starting to cycle through the pit stops. See, Miles is already pitted. Pretty much all the soft guys. I think Graham might have been the last of those to go in. He's sitting P6. Had a good battle for the lead. Buck actually spun, and JPR's out of the session, as I say that.
Oh, and we have a yellow sector 1 already. Let's see who that might have been here as I get the maps up and everything. That's all cleared up for now. Oh no, that's a Red Bull.
Yeah, JPR.
JPR, oh, okay. I'm still getting up to speed.
Doesn't look like we're gonna have a safety car. Yeah, we're back to green. But yeah, had a good battle. Had a good battle at the front with Buck and Stead and Graham. They stayed together for probably the first 6 to 7 laps, and Buck had a spin and kind of split the group up. But yeah, a lot of different strategies going on. Had a lot of guys start on the mediums, had a few start on the softs. So we're kind of cycling through those pit stops now as we got Miles closing in on the back of Mr. Delia. Yeah, we've had pretty much all the DNFs have come in Sector 1 through those S's. So yeah, it's definitely proven to be tricky for some of the guys.
Hard on the brakes there.
Yeah, he's really making those new tires work. Super late. I think he's gonna have he's gonna try to close the gap here and have a go in the front straight, I bet. Delia is almost down to no ERS. Oh my! Yeah, I thought he might actually look for a move there. He was so close. It's a decent exit there. He's going to have a look for sure. Delia just doesn't have anything to defend with. Delia is on 13 lap old mediums, so these are the tires that he started the race on, while Miles is only has 2 laps on his. Now I see Stead and JJ Dog went for hards.
Oh yeah, see.
They both Stead actually started on the softs while JJ Dog started on the mediums, but I mean, you could do a soft to medium here. I'm kind of surprised to see, especially JJ Dog, go medium to hard.
So you can really make the softs last long enough to go soft medium here?
Yeah, if you start on the mediums, they can last you about 15 laps or so, 14 to 15 laps, and then you can make the softs last the rest of the way. I mean, it is a stretch, but it's definitely possible.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I think that's what we're going to see from Buck. We might see Buck and Stig come in maybe this lap, if not the next.
Okay, yeah, 14 laps already. Yeah, that'd be right about there. Stig's been floating around that 3.5 second gap, slowly kind of closing in some areas, but averaging out there about that 3.5 seconds, it looks like.
Yeah, he got off to a little bit of a bad start. I think he started the race around 3rd or 4th, and he dropped back to 8th pretty quickly. So I don't know if he had just a bad start or if he got into a little into a little contact with somebody somewhere in the first lap. But so he's done a good job of making his way back through the field. Had a couple of passes. Oh, Mr. Daly almost gets loose there. You just can't touch these curbs in Sector 1. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that section of the track takes a lot of people out, that's for sure. This used to be one of my favorites right here as we ride on board with Mr. Daly. Those quick two right-handers, you can really just kind of pound through those if you want to, and it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, you can clip a little curb on that last one and it just turns the car for you almost.
Yeah, exactly. Miles is pulling that gap pretty nicely there. Doing a good job. Did Miles win last week or the week before? I forget.
Miles won last week. It was a Ferrari 1-2 last week.
Yeah, good stuff for the Ferrari team.
We've got Monkey Mafia's closing on Mr. Delia pretty quickly also on these new mediums.
Yep, only one lap on those, 14 for Mr. Delia.
Yeah, surely we're going to see him come in. I mean, he's lost a position, maybe two, here in the next lap, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him come on in. I'm really anxious to see where Buck and Stig come out after they cycle through their pit stops. They're sitting in the driver's seat right now with JJ Dog and Stead going on the hards because they're most likely going to be on the softs.
Yeah. Do you know how long the pit stop takes on this track, roughly?
I'm not sure.
From
I'm not sure.
No.
I would think it would be about an average. I would say probably about 22 seconds if I had to guess. You don't really cut much of the last corner there on entry to the pit, so I would say anywhere from 20 to 22 seconds.
Okay.
Stig's starting to lose a little ground to Buck.
Yeah, I saw that, losing almost another second here. So Stead is looking good, however, he could be under some severe pressure once the top two go on those softs. And here's Buck into the
And Buck. Yeah, so if Stig follows him in, he does. So they're both going to be on the softs, surely. Stig gets a 5-second speed in the pit lane.
That.
Oh.
Wow.
He's going to have to really, really step on it for these last 10 laps.
Meanwhile, here comes Stead down the front straight. And he gets Buck. Yep, he gets him. So we'll see how long that lasts. JJ Dog comes out between Buck and Black Stig.
So I think they only lost about 16 to 17 seconds in the pits. And somebody's JJ Dog. Oh, he's wow.
He's
that's
out.
an S's.
Wow, that's a yellow sector 1. A hard crash, tire off, front wing off. He's done for.
He had to have clipped that left-hand curb, and it just shot him straight into the wall.
Yeah.
Can't believe we're not going to see a safety car here.
Have we had any up until this point?
We had one virtual, but no full safety cars.
Wow.
JJ Dog and Miles had a really nice little battle early on. Miles on the softs, JJ Dog on the mediums. But yeah, they've kind of been just running on their own race now, as we've got Buck already closing the gap quickly to Stead.
Yeah, we're riding on board with him now. And yeah, I think that'll be done here on the next straightaway, if not this turn up here. I don't think it's close enough unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, Stead has 0 ERS to play with.
Yeah. He should get him here with the DRS.
Yeah, I think Stead's just going to let him go.
Big run up the inside.
Yeah, I'm questioning the hard choice. The hards are just not a good tire here. So even if the mediums are kind of a stretch, I mean, you'll lose a little time at the end, but I still think it's worth it. The medium's probably the best tire here. So
Definitely.
Mr. Delia is still out on those 17-lap-old mediums.
Be cycled pretty far back at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
front is pretty much pit.
Yeah, I mean he'll lose really just one position. It's going to be kind of close at that. Emerald's going to have to pit behind him, and Villeneuve is about 50 seconds off the pace. So
yeah, Villeneuve has pit, so he might come out around the time that Miro comes out. But, be close.
I think Stig's put about a second on Stead this lap.
The good news is, if you're running in this race still, you're going to score points.
Yeah, that is true. Kind of unfortunate for JJ Dog. He was kind of sitting in the same boat. And, I mean, especially when you're battling for the first few positions, it's I mean, you're putting the car to the limit, and it's just one little mistake is just could cause the premature end of your day. This is where you're really going to see these softs work in this first sector. He puts about a second on him in the first sector by himself. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, Della is doing a decent job of hanging with Monkey on these 18-lap-old mediums. He's kind of standing around that 8/10 mark as he's cutting the gap down a little now.
That's pretty impressive.
It really is. And I mean, they're not terribly far back from the leaders at this point. I know Mr. Della has still got a pit, but if any of these leaders make a mistake, I mean, you've got 1 through 7 sitting there ready to capitalize on them.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be interested in seeing the closing laps here if Graham can catch Stead. I want to say he will in the closing laps, but I don't know. I'm going to watch his delta this time around, see what he.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Stead actually, I think he put it on pole, so he does have some good pace, even though he is on the hards. I don't know. Graham's got about a little over 5.5 seconds to get to Stead, so he's going to have to definitely push pretty hard and take a few risks. Best thing for him here would be for Stig instead to have a pretty nice little battle.
And now only a second off the back of Stead. He's closing fast. And oh yeah, under braking you can see the gains made there. Gain a 10th on braking there. But I gotta give it to Stead. He's doing a fantastic job on these hards.
Yeah, he definitely is. And I mean, we saw how they worked out for JJ Dog, so yeah. It's not the easiest tire to use around here for sure.
Definitely not.
Stig's gonna be close enough to be there in turn 1. Just depends on how he gets through this chicane. He does a pretty good job. This might be a fairly easy move. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, Stead getting a little loose there. Looked like a little squirrely coming out of the corner.
Tries to defend to the outside, but he's gonna be well past going into turn 1.
Nice clean pass there from Stig. But he still has that 5-second penalty, so he's going to have to hustle and build this gap. Meanwhile, Graham is trying his darndest to close this gap a little bit here. So Graham
I'm anxious to see.
To jump.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how Graham responds to Stead being on these hards if he's able to catch him. Graham does have good pace. He's I want to say he's second or third in quali. So he was one of the ones on the softs, but still, I mean, really close to Stead as far as pace, and on the better compounder tire right now.
Yep. It's like in the meantime, Mr. Delia and Mural and Villeneuve all completed their pit stop. Mr. Deli is still in front of that pack.
Graham's not really closing the gap like he needs to right now. He's going to have to pick up the pace to make a run at Stead in these last few laps.
Yeah, Stead was 9/10 back from Stig the last lap, and now he's 1.8 and growing. And that gap from Graham to Stead is staying pretty consistent at about 4.5 or just under. So Graham losing ground quickly, unfortunately, to Stig. So Stig might be safe here with that 5-second penalty once he keeps building this gap with Stead.
Yeah, it's gonna. And Stead's putting in purple sectors. We've got a yellow flag for someone. So McLaren, I believe, he might have just been getting out of the way.
Yeah, cleared up pretty fast there.
I think it was
Villeneuve, maybe.
Yep, it was.
Just getting out of the way. Good job from him.
And I mean, this is a track where anything can happen, really. I mean, I've seen one of my league races that I had last season. Had a guy was going to win his first league race in a long time. Comes around, is it Spoon? Is that the name of the kind of the double left-hander in Sector 2? And there's a lapped car just sitting in the middle of the track. He had spun. And the guy had nowhere to go, and he just nailed him. He did his race, and was not happy, to say the least. But there's just so many places to spin here.
You know, it's going to be actually closer than I thought, assuming Stead keeps pace. He's still only 2.5 seconds off.
He's doing a really good job.
Yeah, he loses a lot of time in the S's, understandably, but the rest of the lap is pretty strong, so Buck's going to have to, Stig's going to have to work for it to grow that gap.
He's putting time on Graham right now also.
Yeah.
And it could be to where the hards are kind of to the point where they start really coming into their own, and the pace really starts to show.
So I think we have a break week coming up next week, is that right?
Is that right? Let me see.
We do, yep, we do have a break coming up, and then it's USA October 24th will be the next race. I've seen a lot of
that should be it should be a fun one. Not really my favorite, but yeah. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So far, I mean, this season, the tracks are so difficult this season, and you know, in seasons past, there would be like a few tracks where you didn't really have to worry about spinning and stuff like that. But I mean, this season with the way the new game handles, I mean, you have to be 100% focused at every single corner, and it's really stressful. Because, like I said, we're just not used to having to be that focused. As we got another yellow flag, that looks like.
Slow down, I think.
Okay.
A mural, maybe. Or no.
Maybe Villeneuve again, letting Stig go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's what was that the dynamics and everything really changed into this year's game.
Yeah, for sure.
I have yet to get on track, but I've just been doing this. But yeah, it looks a lot of fun, but quite a handful for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Stig's finally starting to edge that gap on Stead. It's up to 4.3 seconds now. He's kind of keeping pace with Buck, but it's just not going to be enough without a big mistake from Buck.
Yeah. about to seal the deal for second, and Stead is now 4.6, and that should grow here in this S section, where that penalty will become obsolete.
I'm not really surprised to see really there's no corner cutting penalties or track limit penalties. Just not a track where you can afford to cut any corners. It's pretty much, if you do that, you're in the grass, and that's not really going to be ideal for you. Yep.
Much more than a penalty regret.
Oh, that is Mr. Delia's around.
Yep, he is in the grass. Might have gone. Oh, he spun it. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, and he's got Emerald coming very close to behind.
Oh, and I think he's
Emerald's going to get around. He is.
Yep. Mural's going to pick up a spot. We'll see if Mr. Delia can fight back. So now he's right on the gearbox. Good braking from Mural there.
Really surprised by Emerald today. Normally he's right up there with Stig and Buck and Graham, Stead, Miles, that kind of that lead pack, and he's just even in quality today, he just didn't have the pace to stay with those guys. But sitting in P7 now, I mean that's could definitely be worse. Oh, and Mr. Delia gets loose again. He's in the grass. Don't get enough.
Oh, that's a big one. Lucky to get
His whole wing's gone.
Man.
He's going to have his teammate coming behind not too long.
Yeah, he's going to have to nurse that back around to the pits in the closing laps here. He'll have one lap to go that he has to get a wing and complete a lap, I think. But
I guess the one good thing about that is he doesn't have to go through sector 1 with the broken wing.
Yeah, sure. So Aston Martin leading the championship standings for constructors.
Oh, Delia's out of the session.
Oh, he lost it again?
So he had to have, yeah.
Yeah.
What a weird spot, though.
That is a weird spot. He's way off there.
Yeah, I couldn't even see the car.
Huh. It was way out by the edge. Now it's all cleaned up, but I wonder what happened there. Touched the grass, went around again, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a flat out corner with your entire wing on, which he obviously didn't have. But yeah, I don't know. That's a strange one. Buck's done a really good job. He had that spin early, but he's done a really good job of recovering and really putting the hammer down here in this last stint. Mr. Delia's left the session. Mr. Delia should score points for 9th, though, since it was so late in the race. He would have gotten to the 90% threshold.
That's good. And Buck's going to pick up his first win since Bahrain, the season inaugural race there, so he's going to have a good result.
Wow. Yeah, that's insane. Buck's got the pace to win a lot here in Tier 2, and just hadn't really worked out for him. Had a lot of bad luck, and just a couple of errors that have cost him wins. But good to see him really put the hammer down in this second stint and just kind of drive away with it.
Definitely. He comes across the line to win the Japanese Grand Prix. And right behind him is Black Stig, who's also second in the championship standings. He's been having some good races. Adian did not start last week in Singapore, but comes out strong here and gets a P2. And instead, what a great job on those hard tires to make those keep a good pace.
I really think Stead had the pace to maybe add to this battle for the lead. But for whatever reason, those hards, that strategy just Didn't really work out for him, but he did a good job to bring it home for P3. We got the two Ferrari boys, P4 and P5, so that's going to be a good points day for them. As them and
yeah, Ferrari might. I don't know. I have to see what the points come out to, but the top three in the constructors standing: Aston Martin 152, Alpine 147, and then Ferrari 144. With both of them finishing 4 and 5, it's gonna be close.
Yeah, they will pass Alpine for sure. I think Buck finishing P1 for Aston Martin is going to extend their lead, but that's going to put Ferrari into P2. And man, Stig has been the definition of consistency this season. I mean, even when he has an off race, he limits the damage so well. I mean, he rarely finishes out of the top 5. And that's just what you got to do to win a championship.
Exactly. Had that one did not start last week, but every race before that are top 5 finishes, including one win in France. So, yeah.
It's insane. And I mean, like I said, he's always got the pace to contend for the wins, but it's really just the week after week finishing in the top 5 and even in the top 3 that really gets really gives him a good chance at the championship going forward.
Yeah, definitely. We see Buck getting the fastest lap also, 1:34.45. So great pace from Buck overall as he wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Alrighty, any last words that you want to put out there?
I mean, kind of went as expected. Japanese Grand Prix is always one of the toughest races as far as DNFs that we'll see in the season. But the guys did a good job. Not really a whole lot of wheel-to-wheel racing, but what we did have was pretty clean for the most part. And I think for the most part the people that had the best pace ended up finishing about where they should have. Not really any huge mistakes by any of those top runners. Great job to the podium finishers and to really the guys that finished, period. We know how tough this track is, but yeah, looking forward to seeing if Tier 1 can do a little bit of the same.
Absolutely, and looking forward to how this championship battle continues to develop as we take a break week next week, and then it's off to Austin, United States, and Texas, which should always be an eventful, surprising race, whether you love it or hate it. So, alrighty, we will see you all next time.